You're not behind. I know that's not what it feels like. I know you open your phone and see people your age who already have the house, the business, the following, the life that still feels like something you're working toward. I know you do the math sometimes. How old you are, how old they were when they made it, how much time you feel like you've already lost, and the numbers don't feel good. But I need you to hear this before we go any further. You are not behind. You are on your own timeline. And those are not the same thing. Here's the problem with the way most people measure progress. They use other people as the benchmark. They look left and right instead of forward. And the second you start measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel, you have already lost the comparison. Not because you're less than them, but because you're comparing your entire journey to their most visible moment. You're comparing your chapter 3 to their chapter 20. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their finished product. And that comparison will never be fair. Not once. Not ever. Because you are not them. You didn't start where they started. You don't have what they have. You haven't been through what they've been through. Your path was never supposed to look like their path. And the fact that it doesn't isn't a sign that you're losing. It's a sign that you're living your own life instead of someone else's. That sounds simple, but most people never actually believe it. They say it. They nod along when they hear it. And then they go right back to measuring themselves against everyone around them. So let's talk about why that actually happens and what it's costing you. The reason you feel behind is because you've been handed a measuring stick that was never built for you. Society has a timeline. Graduate by this age. Have a career by this age. Be settled by this age. Have it figured out by this age. And if you're not hitting those marks on schedule, something must be wrong. You must have made a mistake somewhere. You must be falling behind. But that timeline wasn't built around your gifts. It wasn't built around your purpose. It wasn't built around what God placed inside you specifically. It was built for the average. And you were never meant to be average. The most important things in life don't run on schedule. Purpose doesn't have a deadline. Growth doesn't follow a calendar. And the version of yourself you're becoming right now, through every hard season, every slow period, every moment where it felt like nothing was moving, that version is being built on a timeline that only God can see, and his timeline has never been late. Not once. Think about the things in your life that took the longest to develop, the lessons that cost you the most, the seasons that felt like pure loss while you were in them. Now look at what those seasons produced in you. The patience you didn't have before, the perspective you couldn't have bought, the strength that only comes from going through something hard and making it out the other side. None of that was wasted. None of it was falling behind. All of it was preparation. The problem is that preparation doesn't look like progress from the outside. It looks like being stuck. It looks like nothing happening. It looks like everyone else moving forward while you're standing still. But you weren't standing still. You were being built. And building takes longer than people want to admit. A skyscraper spends more time underground than above it. You don't see the foundation going up. You don't see the work happening beneath the surface. And then one day, it seems like the building appears out of nowhere, going up fast, floor after floor, visible to everyone. But the reason it can go that high is because of everything that was laid underground first. That's you. That's the season you might be in right now. Underground. Foundation being laid. Nothing visible yet, but everything necessary. Here's what I want you to think about. The people you feel behind. Do you actually want their life? Not the highlights. Not the parts they post. The whole thing, the sacrifices they made, the things they gave up, the relationships that suffered, the version of themselves they had to become to get there that fast. Because speed has a cost. Getting somewhere fast usually means something else got left behind. And a lot of people who look ahead of you from the outside are carrying something heavy that you can't see from where you're standing. I'm not saying their success isn't real. I'm saying the full picture is never what it looks like from the outside. And before you feel behind someone else's life, make sure you actually want what that life costs. Your pace is your pace. And your pace is producing something in you that a faster timeline never could. I also want to talk about something that doesn't get said enough. The comparison trap doesn't just affect people who are struggling. It affects people who are actually doing well too. Because the trap isn't really about where you are. It's about where you're looking. You could be making real progress. Genuine, measurable, undeniable progress, and still feel behind. because there will always be someone further along. There will always be someone who got there faster. There will always be a highlight reel that makes your real life feel small by comparison. And if you're constantly looking at those reels as your measuring stick, you will never feel like enough. Not at the start, not in the middle, not even at the finish line, because the finish line keeps moving when you're measuring against other people. That's the cost of comparison that nobody talks about. It doesn't just hurt you when you're behind. It robs you of the satisfaction of your own wins. You hit a goal you worked months for, and instead of feeling it, you immediately look around to see how it stacks up. And suddenly the thing you earned feels smaller than it did before you achieved it. That's not ambition. That's a trap. And it's one of the quietest ways to live an unhappy life, no matter how much you actually accomplish. The only measuring stick that actually matters is the one between who you were and who you are becoming. Are you better than you were last year? Are you wiser? Are you stronger? Are you closer to the person you know you're supposed to be? That's the question. Not whether you're ahead of someone else. Not whether you hit some arbitrary timeline someone else decided was normal. Just you versus you. Every single day. And when you start measuring that way, really measuring that way, you'll realize that you've been making more progress than you gave yourself credit for. The growth was always happening. You just weren't looking at it from the right angle. So here's where I want to leave you. Stop counting the years you feel like you've lost. They weren't lost. They were lived. Every wrong turn taught you something a straight path never would have. Every slow season built something in you that a fast one never could. Every moment you stayed when quitting would have been easier, that's not time behind. That's character being forged. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, not where you want to be yet, and that's okay. The wanting is what keeps you moving. But where you are right now is not a mistake. It is not a punishment. It is not evidence that you missed your window or that the best years are already gone. It is simply where the story is right now. And stories that are worth telling don't rush the middle. God doesn't make mistakes with timing. The things He has for you are not going to pass you by because you didn't get there fast enough. They're being prepared for you the same way you are being prepared for them. And when the time is right, not a day early, not a day late, it will happen. You're not behind. You're right on time. Sit with that.